What's going on, Jab Jab Talk Nation? It's your boy Ozeal coming to you from the gym right now. I'm trying to get it in. Look at this, bam. I'm trying to get it in, y'all. I'm trying to get it in. You know how it is. All right, so I want to just share a few quick thoughts on last night's Last Crescendo fight card last night at brought to you by Riyadh Season, which, by the way, can I just say that they put on like the best cards, they put on the best events for boxers, for the boxing industry. I mean, man, I'm gonna talk about, like, it's an event, it's a spectacle. It's not just like your typical like introducing the boxer, and there's something about the way they do it differently. It's amazing. I mean, they're great for boxing. So anyhow, shout out to Riyadh Season for putting on a great show last night. All right, so let me get right to it. Last night's fight, I'm gonna talk about two fights. I watched on replay all the fights, but there's two fights in particular I wanna talk about. Number one, the Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Israel Madrimov, right? There you go. That fight was amazing, super entertaining. It was probably one of the best fights of the night. Virgil Ortiz, which happens to be one of my favorite boxers to watch. I just love his intensity. I love his boxing abilities. I feel like he always brings exciting fights when he fights, and big fan. And he was up against a really tall task, Israel Madrimov, who gave Crawford all the work in his last fight. Some people even thought that he pulled it off. I thought Bud did enough to pull it off, but anyways, he was a very challenging fighter up against Bud Crawford. But let's talk about last night. I mean, Virgil Ortiz, what a fight. I felt like the first few rounds was as expected. Madrimov actually, and by the way, excuse the music, by the way, guys. They're blasting some music in the background, so hopefully it's not too loud. Madrimov gave him some challenges in the beginning. Obviously, he had a lot of energy, in and out, boxing abilities that he has. First few rounds, he gave it to Madrimov. But then Virgil Ortiz made the adjustment, caught on, landed some pretty big shots, and it was pretty much Ortiz after that. Dominating performance by Virgil Ortiz. I felt like he did what we all thought Bud Crawford was going to do, and just neutralizing and just figuring out how to beat a fighter that's in and out, jumpy, slick like Madrimov. Virgil Ortiz dominated, and I think a lot had to do with the power. I think Ortiz has some power in him that could really neutralize any mover. And plus, he's not too shabby of a boxer himself. He definitely knows how to move some angles and make some adjustments. Could work on his defense a little bit. We saw that he gets hit a bit too much, but he's an exciting fighter, and I think there's always room to improve. And he's still young. Like he's still a young lion in the game. So I think he's only going to get better. He's improved tremendously. I know he had some health issues, but he's gotten better. He's strong. He looks good at 154. I actually think he is the top dog at 154. I know Crawford doesn't want anything of that. He doesn't want to fight Ortiz. I feel like he's just like, let me just go ahead and cash out and fight Canelo. That's another thing, and I'll talk about this some other time about Bud Crawford that I'm just not a big fan of. I don't really even think he's legendary. I think he's a notable fighter, but I don't think he's a legendary fighter. Anyways, besides the point, I digress. Last night's fight, Ortiz proved once again that he dominated. He's an amazing fighter. I'm excited to see him continue to dominate 154. We'll see what Crawford does moving up weight. I would love to see Ortiz get a stab at Undisputed and really dominate that completely. I know Boots didn't want none of that either. I don't know what's next for Ortiz, but I think the next fight, whoever we see him against, is going to be always an exciting fight with Ortiz. So Madrimov, what happens? He took two big L's. He took some damage last night. So he may be one of those fighters that's going to give any elite fighter some trouble. So I think he has a career in boxing. He's been taking so many punches and so much damage that I don't know how much more he can go through this punishment. But he's definitely an entertaining fighter. Could cause problems to anybody who's having a bad day. He could possibly win the fight. But yeah, man, shout out to that fight. That was a great fight. Great fight. Let me know in the comments what you thought about that one. And lastly, let's talk about Bevo and Better Beef. Super exciting fight. Bevo dominating the beginning. Better Beef started coming up and stepping his game up and even started winning up a few rounds. I had him up 4-2 and going into the later rounds. And Bevo did something that was really impressive. I mean, he could have like laid down and, Better Beef was putting on the pressure, but he knew that Better Beef got tired and he picked it up and he started throwing more punches, more combinations, and that was really the X factor. I thought it was a great game plan by Bevo that he executed. He could have folded because he was taking some pretty heavy damage in the middle rounds. But my man Bevo just stepped it up, threw punches in bunches, through his flurry of punches and really was the X factor pushing Better Beef back. And he was landing some good shots, and I think that was the thing that really pushed Bevo to the win. I know that some people were, I heard that some people were thinking that Better Beef won the fight. I don't think he even won that fight. It was a close fight, but I feel like Bevo definitely in the later rounds did what he had to do to win the fight. And he rightfully deserved to win that fight. Many people thought that, including myself, thought that he pulled out the first fight. Do we see it again? That's the question. Leave it in the comment section. Do we see that fight again? I actually wouldn't mind. I think it merits a third fight. I know it was the Last Crescendo, but I would like to see it again. Why not? I think it's both are great athletes, great competitors, and Better Beef always makes it really exciting with his style. But why not? I think it'll be good to see that again one more time. But we'll see if it's going to be Benavidez. I know Benavidez is waiting for the next opportunity, but we'll see. We'll see. I think Bevo took some damage last night, so I'm sure he's going to take some time to recover. And Benavidez will continue, rolling and finding opponents. I don't see it any time. Well, definitely don't see it this year. But I'm excited to see what happens next in the 175 pound. So shout out, like he watches this video. But Bevo, if you ever watched this video, congratulations on being undisputed. And yeah, guys, let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts were about last night's fight. What was your favorite fight of last night? Drop it down below. And then the second thing is, what did you think about the main event? What's next for Bevo? What's next for Better Beef? All right, y'all. Jab Talk. Thanks again. Tuning in from the gym. Peace.